Ray Parker sat quietly in the transport seat as the silver shuttle cut through alien skies. Beyond the window stretched the moon city of Taralis, bright towers, floating bridges, and skies filled with colors Earth had never known. She was the first human ever admitted to the Galactic Academy, and the other passengers treated her like a wild animal that somehow learned to sit still. Some whispered, others just stared. Ray didn't respond. She had grown up on a death world where silence could mean survival. When the shuttle docked, the airlock opened with a hiss, and the Academy's artificial atmosphere pressed against her skin. A dozen alien cadets stepped aside as she walked down the ramp. They weren't impressed. Her boots were worn, her jacket plain, her face unreadable. She didn't carry a weapon or translator implant, just her old datapad and a quiet gaze that never seemed to blink long enough for comfort. Inside the Academy Hall, banners shimmered with symbols of hundreds of species. They spoke of unity, progress, and peace, but beneath the speeches and smiles, everyone remembered what Earth was called in the galactic database: Class 9 Death World, the only planet where even the atmosphere could kill most alien species in minutes. The instructor, a tall blue-skinned being named Oren, smiled politely. "Welcome, Cadet Parker. We are honored by Earth's participation." His voice was too careful. Ray nodded once. "Thank you, sir." She noticed the small twitch in his throat. He was nervous. By the end of the day, the gossip had already spread. Some students claimed she had teeth strong enough to chew metal. Others said humans could smell fear. One cadet, Varktal of the Vark Dominion, laughed the loudest. He was tall, armored, and noble-born, used to command and respect. "So this is the Death Worlder," he said in the cafeteria, his tone dripping with amusement. "She looks fragile. Maybe the name is just a story to make you feel dangerous." Ray didn't answer. She sat at her table eating the strange gray food paste they called lunch. When he stepped closer, trying to tower over her, she finally looked up. Her eyes were calm, pale gray, steady. "Maybe," she said softly, "but maybe not." There was no threat in her voice. No challenge. Just a quiet confidence that unsettled him more than shouting ever could. The next morning brought combat drills. Every cadet was assigned a sparring partner to test reflexes and discipline. Varktal grinned when the instructor called his name alongside hers. The others gathered around, whispering and recording with their devices. "Try not to break her, noble one," someone joked. The alien smiled, showing fanged teeth. "I'll be gentle," he said. Ray removed her jacket, tying her hair back with a thin strap. She didn't stretch. She didn't boast. She simply stood on the training mat, feet apart, relaxed, watching. Varktal struck first, a sweeping motion meant to intimidate, not harm. His claws stopped an inch from her throat. The crowd gasped. Ray didn't move. She blinked once and said, "You missed." The alien frowned, annoyed that she wasn't impressed. He attacked again, faster this time, claws glowing faintly with plasma coating. For a brief moment, she stepped slightly aside, her hand flicking up, and something changed in the air. A blur, a dull crack, and then silence. Varktal lay flat on the mat, gasping. His weapon had been disarmed. The plasma emitter lay spinning across the floor. Ray stood still, her breathing calm, her face unreadable. No one saw how it happened. The instructors froze the footage, analyzing frame by frame. There was no visible motion between her dodge and his fall. Just a blink. The kind of movement only creatures evolved in constant danger could perform. Varktal stood, humiliated. But before he could speak, the instructor raised a hand. "Enough," Match concluded. His tone carried something between fear and respect. When the crowd dispersed, Ray sat again at her table, eating in silence. Some cadets kept glancing at her, curiosity replacing mockery. A few even avoided eye contact completely. For the first time in the Academy's history, a hall full of proud alien warriors felt something they rarely experienced: unease. That night, as the twin moons of Taralis rose, Ray looked out her dorm window. The stars here were different from Earth's, colder somehow. She whispered softly to herself. "You said I'd have to earn their respect, Grandpa. Guess we're just getting started." Far across the city in the instructor's lounge, Oren replayed the combat footage again and again. "No implants. No exosuit. Just human reflexes," he muttered. The others around him said nothing. They all knew what it meant. If one untrained girl from a death world could do that without trying, What would happen if Earth ever decided to fight seriously? And somewhere deep in the Academy's database, the system tagged Ray Parker's file with a quiet note. Subject displays threat potential beyond standard metrics. Recommend further observation, but Ray didn't care about any of that. She just wanted to prove that Earth wasn't a monster planet. She wanted them to see humans as equals, yet without realizing it, she had already changed the way every alien looked at her kind. The morning after the duel, the Academy buzzed like a hive. Ray Parker's name was whispered through corridors, labs, and mess halls. The footage of her lightning-fast movement had spread beyond the training wing and reached the senior staff. Some called her dangerous, others called her gifted, but no one could deny she was different. Ray walked through the halls quietly, pretending not to notice the stairs. Her boots echoed softly against the polished metal floor. The air smelled faintly of ozone and alien oils. Everywhere she looked, screens displayed news of species, councils, and distant wars. It was supposed to be a peaceful academy, but politics seeped into everything. She knew she was being watched. Barktal, meanwhile, sat in the med bay with a bruised chest and a bruised ego. His attendants whispered that he should have never provoked a Death Worlder. But pride burned hotter than pain. He stared at the replay again and again, each time pausing at the frame where she vanished from sight. No creature moves like that, he muttered. She must be using forbidden tech. By midday, the Academy Council summoned Ray to the observation chamber. The room was large, circular, and filled with alien officials in silver robes. She stood in the center, calm and composed. One of them, a scaled being with sharp ridges, leaned forward. Human, explain the event that occurred during training. Ray kept her voice steady.
He attacked.
I defended. You used an advanced kinetic burst, the official accused. We have no record of such ability in your species. Ray looked at him straight. It's not a weapon. It's instinct. The room fell silent. One of the scientists activated a hologram. We ran every scan. No implants, no nanotech, no energy enhancers. Another adjusted his glasses. Her neural responses are extraordinary, faster than any recorded species. Her muscle density is unnatural for her size. The officials murmured among themselves. Death World biology, one whispered. They really evolved like that? The head examiner finally sighed. You may return to your quarters, Cadet Parker, but until this is resolved, you are restricted from combat training. Ray nodded once and left without argument. She wasn't angry. She was used to suspicion. Back home, she'd been treated the same way after every fight in school. People always assumed humans won because they cheated, not because they survived harder worlds. Outside, the alien sun hung low, casting long blue shadows across the Academy courtyard. Ray found a quiet spot under a tree with silver leaves. She pulled out her datapad, scrolling through a message from Earth. It was short as usual. Be smart, be kind. Don't start a war. It was signed by her grandfather. She smiled faintly. As she sat there, a small shadow approached. It was Lyrian, a timid avian student with wide golden eyes and soft feathers. Can I sit here? She asked nervously. Ray gestured to the grass beside her. Sure. Lyrian hesitated before speaking. Everyone's scared of you now. But I don't think you're bad. Ray chuckled softly. I'm not. I just don't like being attacked. The bird girl tilted her head. Why didn't you hurt him? You could have. Ray looked up at the twin suns. Because that's not strength. Real strength is stopping before it goes too far. Lyrian blinked, thoughtful. That's strange. Most warriors here fight to win. Ray smiled faintly. Where I'm from, we fight to live. Their conversation was interrupted by a mechanical drone hovering above. It projected a message in the air, an order from the Academy Council. Cadet Parker will report for additional physical evaluation at dawn, Ray sighed. More tests, Lyrian looked worried. Be careful. Some people want to prove you're dangerous. Ray stood, brushing dust from her uniform. They won't have to prove it. They'll see it if they keep pushing. Her voice wasn't threatening, and it was honest. That night, the testing labs glowed with cold light. Ray stood inside a glass chamber surrounded by scientists. Sensors wrapped around her arms and neck. They asked her to lift weights, run on a treadmill, and strike targets. She did everything without hesitation, though she could feel their eyes studying her like she was a specimen, not a person. When she hit the impact dummy, the machine registered a reading that made everyone freeze. That can't be right, one whispered. The data showed a level of kinetic force that rivaled heavy combat exosuits. Ray simply stepped back, breathing normally. After hours of tests, they released her. As she walked through the empty corridors, a tall figure appeared from the shadows. It was Varktel. His eyes glowed faintly under the corridor lights. "So they're calling you a Deathworlder again," he said bitterly. "Congratulations. You've made me look weak before the council." Ray stopped, meeting his gaze. "You made yourself look weak when you attacked someone unprovoked." He stepped closer. "I'm not done with you, human." She didn't flinch. "You already were." Then she walked past him. He watched her leave, fury twisting inside him. But beneath that anger, a sliver of fear grew, a fear he didn't understand. Later that night in the surveillance office, an instructor watched Ray's test results on the main screen. "If she ever chose to fight seriously," he whispered, "none of us could stop her." Outside, under the pale moons, Ray lay awake in her dorm bed. The alien air hummed softly through the vents. She wasn't proud of what she did, but she couldn't let them walk over her either. She thought of Earth, the rain, the storms, the constant danger that shaped her people. Out here, among fragile creatures of softer worlds, she finally understood why they called humans Deathworlders.